Good morning. Good morning. So, I wanted us to just kind of get into this little chat about 2025. Um, Doing things a little different this year. I like to change up the energy all the time in our Patreon community. Um, and so we're going to do some of these Oracle chats. Some of them will be live recordings and some will be audio recordings this way. But I wanted to drop this one as we come into this 2025 energy. All of you guys have been around long enough to have followed me when I was doing the podcast, Coconut Oil, Stardust, and Dope Vibes. And I'm thinking about bringing that back in a different way. But at the top of the decade, I talked a bit about how we have to look at this entire time. Like, as we came into 2020, I was like, we have to look at this as a whole entire decade and not just year by year. And so a lot of the things that were going on, the things that are going to happen, it's the result of collective, activity, collective consciousness. It's the result of like, I was just thinking the other day, I was like, there's no decorum. Like, there's no decorum, there's no real etiquette, there's no collectively looking at something and saying, hey, this is the way that this should be done as human beings, as mankind. Like, there's that kind of thinking has become obsolete because I think everybody has a microphone, everybody has a platform. And while it's great to expand the mind, because obviously that has to happen. While it's great to expand the mind, at the same time, it's given way to everyone thinking that their way is the way and this is how we do things. And I think that's really, really gotten us in a space of just kind of putting us, I think we're just really at a space where things are just kind of backed up at a halt. It's going to bottleneck eventually and break free. But I think we're just stagnant and things really aren't as progressive as a whole as they need to be. There's pockets of progression in certain spaces, but that collective effort, I know I talked about that a lot at the beginning of the decade. So like 2020, 2021, 2022, around that time, I was like, yeah, there has to be this whole collective effort. It just feels like in 2025, all of the stuff that we were supposed to do, the way we were supposed to handle things, all of that's just out the window. There was actually a plan, and no one went according to the divine plan. And while I'm still a person of faith, it's just going to take a lot to rectify all of this stuff. It's just going to take a whole lot. And there has to be a whole nother plan devised. Like, everything that we were supposed to do, you could forget it. We entered into another realm, another matrix, and we just went in a completely different direction. And sometimes you can go in another direction and everything will still be kind of cool, but I don't think that's not what's happening here. And I don't say these things to be ominous and just, looming over you. Like, I don't say it for that. I put this stuff out there because I think if you have an understanding of like where we're at, you can navigate it better. So having symptoms of like that depression or that anxiety, or just feeling like you want to leap, like just feeling like you want to jump out of your skin, or feeling like, gosh, I feel like I don't belong here in this space. Like having those feelings, I think I know are very real and very realistic, because I don't think we were supposed to shift over here. So for some of us, there's that realization that this ain't this wasn't what we signed up for. We were really supposed to go another way. I think there's still time to get to where we need to be and try to get on track. And I think some people will make it there. My only thing is I'm leery that people will listen, right? One of the things that I keep hearing people say is like, oh, where are our leaders? Where's our leadership? Because we can name off some of our classic leaders that we've had. It's like, where are they? Where are our leaders? Where's leadership? Has been here. Y'all have just been, I say y'all, but mankind has just been listening to everybody else. Leadership has been here. Y'all are just kind of listening to all the wrong people. And this is that piece that I talked about years ago, like 2020, like 2018, excuse me, 2017, 2018, where I said, you're going to have to be able to have discernment so you can tell the difference between what's real and what's not. And here we are, where there are Facebook pages that are full of AI and that pretend to give historical information, and people are eating it up, missing some of those little clues on there where it's like, that doesn't add up. That can't be real. I think we're just bombarded with so much information. It's hard to tell, like, sometimes, like at first glance, sometimes it's hard to tell. Sometimes it's really hard to tell. We have a lot to do in our lifetime. There's a lot that we have to do. And I think we just keep forgetting that the stuff that we're supposed to be doing is laying a foundation for those who come after us. And I'm just not confident in what we're leaving. I'm not confident in it. Can it get better? Yes. I'm just not confident in it. 2025 feels like a free-for-all. I'm at the point where I feel like I've said enough as a guide, as an oracle, as someone who sees, like, I feel like I've said enough. And I feel like I'm just going to go retreat and mind my business, get myself together, do the things that I want to do for myself. That's where I feel like I'm going to be, because I feel like I've said everything that needs to be said. People will catch up. People will find the information. And it's always so kind of exciting to me when people come back and they're like, oh yeah, you talked about this years ago. Here we go. It's like, yeah, right. So I'm going to drop little things like this, and then you guys do with it what you want to do with it. But what I really want you to focus on for 2025 is preserving your energy, not letting yourself so when I used to work in community mental health, there's this idea called getting out of context. So I used to work in the group homes with teenagers, and one of the things was, as as the kids would try to manipulate, they would just kind of lead the conversation all over the place and pretty much take you on these wild tangents. And we would call that getting out of content, because what you're trying to do is manipulate and take me on a tangent so far away from why we originally started this conversation to address your behavior, that we're going to get completely out of content. Completely. And that's what they're hoping, is that you forget why we even came here in the first place, or that they just straight up exhaust you. Like they're trying to exhaust you so they don't have to address whatever the behavior is. They don't have to address it. They don't have to change it. So we used to call it getting out of content. And that's where I think so many things are right now. There are forces that are getting us out of content. So they'll have you arguing on the internet with bots. Y'all know half of those things that be arguing in the comment section, they're not even human. They're bots. AI has taken over a lot of stuff, and in the right, it's like anything else. In the right hands, it's great. In somebody else's hands, it's the worst thing ever. So 2025, like, we really have to watch out for getting out of content. Letting people lead you down a rabbit hole of things that either don't matter, things that are detrimental, things that are harmful, things that just will put your mind on a hamster wheel. We really got to be careful with that. We really have to tap into our discernment. I've been teaching intuition and discernment for a very long time. It's never too late to hop on board. It's never too late to reattune yourself, right? And so these things are going to be key, because 2025 just feels like a gap year. Like, it feels so in between, and it's not pivotal, not like there's this in between gap and we could like shift and go another direction. No, we're on the course. Like, there's no course correct, and we're on the course that we're on. We can hop off soon enough, but not just yet. We're on that train ride. And but there are some tools and things that we could be using to really protect our energy. This is full on spiritual warfare, full on, in the flesh. Spiritual warfare in the flesh. Period. And I don't know so much if we're supposed to sit and fight it, because I think that will leave us weary. I think more than anything, we're supposed to acknowledge that these things are going on. Like, I don't feel like we need to be out here fighting crazy. We don't need to be out here necessarily battling evil. I think there's just really a space where we have to acknowledge that those things exist. And those of us who are not going to get out of content with it, we going over here to this other space and spend our energy doing things that are helpful, doing things that put us in a position of leadership, that we spend our time doing things that cultivate better spaces, and that we spend our time creating more healing spaces. And I don't want you to worry about that other side destroying it, because that's part of the getting out of content. That's part of the mindset that they'll have you thinking, well, if I go over here and create something new, they'll destroy it. So I don't want to create anything new. And look where that leads us. So I want you to figure out what your part is. I want you to sit in that prayer closet and really, really listen for your instructions on what your part is. Everybody plays a part. Everybody plays a part. Everybody. Maybe you're not creating and cultivating the space, but maybe you know the space exists and you can direct people to it. Hey, there's this beautiful space over here and I learned a lot. Y'all should come on. That's playing a part. I'm not going to bog y'all down with all of the things that I see. Somebody asked me that recently. They were like, are you going to tell us what you see? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I'm a guide a little bit along the way. Pop out and go on back and mind my business. Because there's a lot of things that I'm working on. And I need to protect my energy as well. Less conversation, more action. And a lot of your guidance that you need to receive, for all of us, the guidance we need to receive isn't like taking a course or sitting in a class. It's understanding when you are in the presence of angels, understanding when you are in the presence of God's light. Like, there's going to be people who are walking around every day in God's light. You need to recognize when you're in that presence and not take it as happenstance, because you're supposed to draw from that and then in turn receive it and then give it to someone else, right? So this is just our first chat of 2025. We're going to have more Oracle chats. I want you guys to tune into the chat, of course, but I want you guys to be prepared to come live to the chats. And we're going to cultivate these spaces. I'm looking forward to 2025 with y'all.